What is the best place you ever took someone on a first date?
Oh.
Ooh. What's going on, everyone? Kellan and Kevin here, and we have a very special Q&A vlog for you. We reached out to all of you guys on Instagram and asked for your questions around the topic of...
Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Dating.
So we're going to talk about dating. Now, who are we? Are we experts in this? By no means.
No.
But we're going to pretend to be the experts today.
I've heard it said that failure is the greatest teacher, and if that's true, we're experts.
So here's a question from Gabby Marielle Steele, and she asks, what is the most embarrassing thing to happen to either of you during a date? You want to start it off?
Yeah, I'm combing through the file cabinet here of embarrassing moments. I went out with somebody. We met up at a bar that had like outdoor seating, and the seating was this like very small like garden table. And so I went up to the bar, got us 2 drinks, came back, set them down, immediately kneed the table and spilled both drinks directly into my lap. Yeah, it was a little short on money at the time, so I had to go up to the bartender and be like, hey, you just saw me. And the guy was like, yeah, and I was like, he was like, peed? And I was like, no, I spilled your drinks. And he was nice enough to make them for me again, but that was very bad.
That reminds me of a time I was on a date. We went to Improv Asylum in Boston.
Very fun.
And
Good date idea, an improv show.
Great, yeah. So I had definitely my beer in my hand, and like they serve a pretty good sized beer there, so I was like ready to go. Now you walk in and there's all these seats around the stage, and So what I didn't realize is there's a step to get up to the second level of seats.
No.
And it sounds worse than it ended up being, but I couldn't see, and I like totally caught the step, and everyone saw it, and I started to go face down and somehow caught myself and held the beer, but it was about to be a massive explosion of both me and this beer everywhere, and it was like right at the beginning of the date. It was gonna be rough.
Would have been hard to recover from that.
It would have been painful. Okay, this is from Soretti_it. What do you value when being in a relationship?
That's a great question.
It is a good question.
Do you have a quick answer?
I think my number one value is a little bit twofold. So there's kind of 2 big values. One is intelligence. For me, is incredibly important. I'm pretty nerdy myself, so you got to be able to keep up with that. And 2, you got to be able to live your own life, do your own thing. You know, I have a lot of stuff that I like to do in my life, and I want you to feel the same and have your own fun activities that you can do. And you can live your lives separately, but then also live them together.
Yeah, I think that's a really wise thing to value.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'm realizing that I want that separate but together thing more. I think when I was a younger version of myself, like coming out of college, I was like, ready for that wife anytime. And you sort of realize that if you're going to meet the person that you're meant to be with, you probably want to be the most successful, self-actualized version of yourself.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, let's try to find some good questions here. Are you a couple? Are you a couple? Are you a couple? Oh, I got one. Are you a No.
Okay, let me get a real question. This is from our friend Lorenzo Padilla. Lorenzo asks, what is the best place you ever took someone on a first date?
Oh.
Big first date guy?
Yeah, and
creative first date guy? What's your...
I'm not a super creative first date guy, and I always like when someone else is a creative first date person. Mm-hmm. I went to a roller skating rink with someone.
Wow, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Was there a second date?
No.
It sounds like it was fun.
I thought it was fun. But it was less fun for her to see my noodle body just...
It was a test and you failed. Here's one thing that I will say about 2020. I found the first date game was very different, obviously, because you couldn't go places. So what I liked best was like going out and having a picnic.
That was
because
great.
I felt like I wouldn't have done that before. Like I would have said, hey, let's go get a drink at a bar or something. But it was great to not do that. There was something cool about being outside, and you can kind of bring your own bottle of wine and hang out, and it just feels more relaxed. It felt like took a lot of that pressure of the meeting at a spot and going through that, because that's nerve-wracking. But when you could kind of like go meet up and have a picnic and hang out, that felt great to me. I really liked that a lot. So I thought that was a good kind of...
Do you think you'll carry that into sort of your regular life?
Oh yeah. I mean, I want to incorporate just going and sitting on the grass into my life. Kevin and I this summer would just go hang out on the grass and get outside.
It's funny how excited we'd be to be like, you want to just go to the hill? We had this place called The Hill, and it was kind of by our old apartment, and it was the best.
It was great.
We'd post a TikTok, go look at it on the hill.
Yeah.
Papoose asks how to cope with heartbreak in a healthy way.
Ooh, Papoose, this is a hard question.
But a good question. You want to be able to be vulnerable. You want to be able to have your heart broken. Otherwise, you're never going to get into a position where you're in a loving relationship with someone.
Totally.
And, the price of that is that if something goes wrong, you could get hurt. And that's hard.
But most people go through that first heartbreak, right? So when you go through that first one, whether that's in high school or college or whatever, that happens for you, it feels like it's the end of the world. So, we have a lot of different age people watching this. So if you're going through this right now, or if you have recently, just know that it's truly not the end of the world. You will go through 1, 2, 3, many more heartbreaks throughout the course of your life.
Yeah.
And they will continuously be hard, but you will get better at grasping them and coping with them and dealing with them. So, Papoose, when you ask what's a healthy way to deal with it, to give some constructive ways to deal with heartbreak is to look at the people who are around you that will support you, no matter what, through thick and thin. So that's your family, your close friends, the people you work with that you have a strong relationship with, and to spend time with them and focus on the things that you love doing yourself that make you happy, and know that this is getting back to what we were saying before about how when you're in a relationship, you want to have your own life and keep that separate, because then you have that still to fall back on if something doesn't work out in your relationship.
Something that I've learned for myself that works really well is if I'm not feeling good, what I can always start trying to make healthier choices in really basic ways, even if it's like, let me exercise 5 times a week and eat double the vegetables and cook meals at home and stuff. And once I start to get into that grind, I get a little more excited about at the very least, I'm physically feeling a little bit better.
Totally.
And that kind of helps me mentally feel better, kind of helps me spiritually feel better. If you can just adjust one little element and kind of fight through that pain, I've found that I get to feeling more like myself a little more quickly.
Yep.
But give yourself that space to feel the heartbreak.
Yeah.
Don't shut it out. And, don't do as I have done many times and be too closed off after a heartbreak to let yourself meet someone new.
Oh, yeah.
It could be great.
I've done that too.
The old trap, right?
That happens a lot. Yeah, it's scary because if you get your heart broken, you don't want to open back up and go through that again. But what you got to realize is, and it's hard to realize, is that you're not going to get a chance for something new if you close yourself off.
Right. Great question.
So Christina VR89 says, what is the first thing you notice in a girl that would make you say... I have one that comes to mind pretty immediately.
Please.
As I think about it. So if I'm on a first date with a girl and she's constantly picking up her phone and checking her phone and it's blowing up the whole time, it's I find that a little bit weird because I'm well, we're here, we're trying to have a good time. Why is your phone out and why are you constantly on it? I just think you could put it away for a couple hours and hang out.
If I'm on a date and someone isn't allowing me to talk about how I have 1 million followers on TikTok the entire time, I'm just not into that. I'm just going to probably talk about it a lot. And if you can't hang with that, you can't hang with the dog. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Here's a question from Jim DZ104. How long should you be dating before giving a Christmas present? Or we could say any gift for that matter.
Ooh.
Kind of depends on your love language. Is it gifts? Best advice I can give you is use discretion. No hard and fast rules for any of this stuff, obviously. If you have been dating someone for a couple weeks and you have something you can give them that will make sense and they will understand why you're giving it to them, that's great. That's cute. Should probably be relatively inexpensive and kind of an inside joke kind of thing or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I definitely wouldn't say by 4 months in, you're giving him a Tiffany's bracelet.
Right. But I think a lot of people do hit the holidays or they hit a birthday and it lines up at a point where you're not sure what you should do about that.
Yeah.
Christmas might even be easier because it's not a birthday where it's one person would get one person a gift. It's a situation where you would theoretically both
exchange
gifts. So that, for the Christmas situation or the holiday situation, that's one where it might be worth just having a conversation about it and say like, hey, is this something we want to do, or can we do this in a fun way? You know what I mean? So then it kind of gets out there, and it's, I don't know. That's for me, because I think I'd feel awkward if somebody got me a gift and I didn't have one in return, or vice versa.
Oh, I think I would be like, yours is coming. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I would just want to get rid of that potential awkwardness
Googling.
early, so I'd be like, want to talk about it. With the birthday thing, that's a tough one. You're gonna want to just really think about where you are and how you can do a fun first gift in a creative way.
Yeah, as long as it feels natural, I think it's probably fine.
Kev, I got a question for you.
Hit me.
If you could give your younger self some advice about dating, what would it be?
I think the hard thing can be to remember that stuff just takes time, and your body and your heart and your mind just take time to get over stuff. I think we feel something bad and we're like, okay, how can I end this feeling immediately? And you then get stressed out because you're like, I still feel bad. It's 3 days later.
Right.
And I fall prey to that really, really often, really, really hard. And I'm getting a little bit better at being like, oh yeah, I've felt this way before. It goes away, and I don't need to fixate on it as much. And I would definitely just try to crystallize that into something to give myself if I was younger.
I do this thing, and I've been really working on this, where in my life outside of dating, I'm a hard worker. I'll just crank stuff out, go, because it's like finding solutions to things and getting things done. In a relationship, it doesn't work like that. There will be times when someone will be upset, and that's not something that you can just fix with an I'm sorry or with a gift or something. And that for me took till this point in my life to figure it out and continue to figure out, because I just wanted to fix the solution if someone was mad. And what you have to do, or what I've learned to do in my circumstances, is sometimes you just got to step back and give the other person a little bit of space, give them a little bit of time to go through their own emotions if they're upset about a situation, and then you can kind of figure things out and go from there. So it's not like you're, fixing a chair that you broke and you can just immediately fix it. You need to these are human beings. You got to let people process things and deal with them and go with that. And
get comfortable with the possibility that you might not like the outcome of how the person
also hard to
decides how they feel. I mean, a big thing for me is obviously does Kellan like the person I'm dating? That's important.
Friends liking the person and getting
roommates
along with
too. I mean,
roommates for sure, because that's a lot of time together. But the person I'm dating needs to be able to get along with my friends for sure. That's a real issue for me if my friends are like, I don't like this girl,
they can't hang.
Then I'm like, well, shoot, because I take my friends probably to a fault how much I take my friends and family's opinions of people.
You're pretty close with your friends and family.
True. I trust them on that read. And if they don't pass the Kevin test, then they're out.
It's a 10-step process. You have to go to the DMV, and the lady there will send you some forms. You fill out the forms, you bring them back to the DMV.
There's a written portion.
There's a written portion.
IQ type.
There's a kind of I'll show you some pictures, you tell me what they mean, and I write down notes. It's a whole thing.
Ink blot test. There's a whole series of.
You're not going to get it as it's happening, but you will receive a judgment, and it's not everyone passes, guys.
All right, thank you so much for watching. Let us know more questions down below. If you liked this, go ahead and like the video. Maybe we'll do a round 2 of this, or we'll do some other type of Q&A. We're having a lot of fun with these, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll definitely be back with more, and we'll check you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.